welcome back to the show. Still good morning, Anambra right here on ABS TV. And like we told you earlier that we are meeting you on the other side, and this is the discussion segment of the Breakfast TV show this morning. We will be talking about conflict mitigation through protest series, analyzing President Tinubu's address to Nigerians. Of course, you know that protests started nationwide on the 1st of August 2024, and it was tagged End Bad Governance Protests. And the president addressed the nation yesterday, telling the protesters that he has heard them loud and clear and that he's open to dialogue. So today we are going to, talk about some of the things contained in that address, and also talk about some fallouts of the protests in some part of the country. We have as guests in the studio this morning, but then again, before I introduce my guests, I have my co-anchor with me, Angelo Chukwokabwe. Angelo, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Well, Nigerians are law-abiding when it has to do with protests of this magnitude. But then it's just so unfortunate that lives were lost due to some unforeseen circumstances. But then we want to use this opportunity to commiserate with the lives of those Nigerians that went out there to speak against this government and then had their lives cut short. We pray that God will console their respective families.
All right, having said that, let's quickly introduce our guests who are already seated with us in the studios this morning. We have Chukwunonso Ekesiobi. He's a lecturer in the Department of Economics, Chukwuemeka Odumegwu University, COOU. Glad to have you on the show.
Thank you. Good morning.
We also have Paulson Okeke. Paulson is a journalist and also a public affairs analyst. Paulson, good morning. Glad to have you.
Yeah, good morning, viewers. Join us, please.
All right, thank you so much for joining us on the topic today. Like I said earlier, we'll be looking at conflict mitigation through protest series and then analyzing President Tinubu's address to Nigeria. Before we go into the address, so let's start with you talking about the whole protest, how it started. We know what we have been going through in a country, and it got to some point the youth say that enough is enough. We need to come out, because if we are silent, they will feel that we are okay with all the policies that they are dishing out to us as youth and citizens of this country, and they decide to come out. But before then, we know that even the government came out saying that we shouldn't go ahead to do the protest. There was even a time they clamored for dialogue, and it didn't happen. At the end of the day, the protest started. So in your own understanding, do you feel that this protest, that it was the right time for the youths of this country, citizens of this country, to come out and say, yes, we are no longer happy with what is happening to us?
There's nowhere it is written that there's an appropriate time where you conduct protests. Protests can even happen right in your very home. Yes. I remember growing up, we once in a while had to air our opinion. And my parents would call all of us siblings for a family meeting. And after addressing the issues, we continue where we stopped. So there is no time. The essence of what I'm trying to say is that there is no time dedicated for protests. But coming to our own situation, it's quite unfortunate that we have to allow things to get to the level of even protesting in the first place before we begin to listen to what the people are saying, because they have been seeing the signs. The signs have been very clear from the onset, but maybe they did not anticipate it to happen so suddenly. But even at that, we know the situation of things. You cannot beat a child and tell the child not to cry. Nigerians have been beaten blue and black by the situation in the economy. In fact, I was speaking with one of the protesters, a friend of mine in Abuja, and he told me that, in fact, that why he's protesting is that when he got to his turn to leave the country, this is a jackpot syndrome. That now, before, if you had like 5 million, you could leave the country easily. But now with 10 million, you cannot even talk of leaving the country because of the way things have degenerated. So what are we talking about? We are talking about hunger. People are becoming more hungry. In the midst of this hunger, there is food insecurity, because we are no longer maximizing our potentials when it comes to agriculture. And why are we not farming the way we ought to? Because at least maintain the level we have been known for in terms of agricultural output, because there is insecurity. And when there is no food, it leads to food inflation, because the prices of the few available food in the market will keep increasing. Simple demand and supply. And when that happens, there is food poverty. And when there is food poverty, there is hunger and malnutrition. And you take it further, healthcare. We don't need to talk about what is going on in our healthcare.
And robbery. Yeah. Because in the paper today, you saw a woman that was arrested because he stole 7 moons of rice.
You see, unemployment is another thing. Nowadays, I tell people, I was in a forum where they were talking about scrapping NYSC. I said, please, they should not contemplate it for now. And like, why? This outlived its usefulness. I told them, no. But the reason why you should keep the NYSC is, it is the only thing that is preventing the Nigerian youth from facing unemployment immediately after graduation. So instead of using unemployment to welcome you as soon as you graduate, at least the NYSC sort of helps you to prepare your mind to what is about to happen to you if you are not careful.
And takes you probably away from your present.
Still go back to send again.
So I am telling you, so I still plead that they leave the program just for this particular reason. Any other one, it can be scrapped. So there are a lot of other things, and these things, when we discuss these things, we are not talking of numbers. As an economist, yes, we deal with statistics, but I also try to advise that when we are looking at numbers, we should know that this thing is beyond numbers. These are human beings. These are lives that are depending on whatever decisions we are making. And when you see the body language of leadership, it has only encouraged this protest, because I believe that we are only being reactive. Assuming we are proactive enough, when these complaints were being made, most of these things, the president reeled out the other day in his speech, will not even be necessary, because we will see them in place. We always want, when things happen, then people will now, when we had the protests under Jonathan, that was what gave birth to Shopee and the rest of them, reaction. The other one, the same thing. So can we just get it right for once and know that, yes, there is policy coordination, and we know that we are doing things to better the life of the average Nigerian.
Wow. Well, thank you for that submission. Now, coming to you, Paulson. Now, when you're talking about getting it right and getting engaged, the youth protesting and then getting demands, peradventure, there are certain demands that comes out of this protest. The Southeast that decided not to be part of this protest, won't the rest of Nigeria say, you didn't participate, so why would those benefits actually accrue to you? That's one question. And then on the second note, we've had politicians come out to say, in the dailies today, that let's give this government some more time. Because a year, or rather 14 months, is too short a period for you to see immediate transformation and change based on the clamorings of Nigerian youth that led to this protest. What's your submission on that?
Yeah, let me take the last question. You see, politicians asking for time for government. I keep saying there is no time that suffering has no time frame. Suffering comes up. Hardship is what the people are facing. And you cannot tell a hungry man, wait, let me get you food next month when he's hungry today. You see one thing about our government. Our government is such government that is very, very insensitive. Our leaders have taken us, the masses, for a ride for too long. So pleading for more time. When? That is it. Even when the youths release their demands, at least weeks before August 31st deadline, they release what they want.
July 31st, you meant?
No, weeks before July 31st. They gave out their demands. A very, very sensitive government. We try to reach out. The president should make a broadcast. We have seen all these things. we are going to handle it this way, this way, this way. Give us between now and then, between now and this time, we will do this. Between now and this time, we will do this. Just like many people are now criticizing the president for giving Nigerians a hollow speech, a hollow broadcast. Because people came up saying, we want this done, we want this done, we want this done. Key points, salient points. But they didn't consider it necessary to react until the demonstration started. Now they begin to react. So it is what is called doing the first thing last. Because what the president should have done is, the president should have made a broadcast days before August 1st to address these demands. He didn't do that. Possibly because he might thought that all these pleadings here and there, all these coercions here and there, and all these persuasions.
The dialogues and
because he was using both persuasion and coercion just to make to dissuade the youth. But it is not there. There were issues raised. This issue raised should be addressed. Our refineries, you keep on promising us from May 29th. You keep promising our refineries will work December 2023. It didn't work. We are now in the 8th month of the next year, that's August 2024. The refineries are not working yet. So what are you doing? So for the protesters, they didn't have that confidence that this government that is pleading for time is serious. So that is one thing about our government, because what the type of leaders we have here is give us time, give us time. The youth would have said, okay, we are giving you end of the year. They will go home and sleep. The government, I mean, will go home and sleep. And when they started talking again, they said, give us time, now, give us time. Now we are just new. Before you know it, 4 years is gone. The man will be talking about re-election. So there is no time that is possible for it to happen, or that any time it happens is good. But for a man that is hungry, we've been crying, Nigerians have been crying, we are hungry, we are hungry, we are hungry. For a sensitive father would have said this, that. Only yesterday the president comes with his broadcast. We have stopped duty on importation of rice. We have done this, we have done like campaign speech. Because that was what the president, main rhetorics. I still believe 2027 is still far away. But then what the president came out yesterday to talk about is campaign speech. Issues on ground, he never touched any of them. And that is why the youth said, this man is not listening to us, so we are protesting. So what's your first question again?
About East sitting out.
Okay,
Southeast.
About the East sitting at home, fine. On Saturday, on Saturday, I was watching the television and Northern Elders Forum was criticizing the Igbos for not participating in the Southeast and so on. Because I should think, in my own judgment, that protest got derailed somewhere in the North. Because what they promised to Nigerians, the organizers, was a peaceful protest. But in the North, it was a mixture of peaceful and violent protests. That Kano State suffered so much. I can see ICT Hub built by NCC, vandalized, and many other places in the North. That wasn't maybe the idea of the protest.
A peaceful protest.
Because what everybody was talking, peaceful protest, but it is taking another tone. Unfortunately, many lives were lost. It's so bad. May their souls rest in peace. But what is important, we in the East, like the Igbos, when we cry of hunger, we do it. We don't shout. We don't go to the street shouting, "We are hungry. We are hungry." If you are hungry, your brother will call you because I don't be your brother's keepers. That's the Igbos. So the Igbos have 2 points for not protesting. One is that we are Igbos. We are so resilient. We can manage any situation, and because we have been managing. Nigerian government has not taken us into contention for any reason. We have been on our own. So the suffering or no suffering, we have always been there, surviving. That is one thing about the Igbos. That resilient nature of the Igbos has come to play in the hunger in the land. Then another one is that our elders talk to us, do not protest, and we listen to our elders. Because I could remember the Ohaneze was pleading to our youth, please, they are targeting you. They are targeting you because if you see the number, the preparation of the security men for the southeast, so wisdom prevailed. The southeasterners, our youth stayed off. Because anything we do here, they will say it's because of Nnamdi Kanu, it's because of IPOB, it's because of this, it's because of that. Therefore, the level of punishment that will be meted out to you will be different from that level of punishment that will be meted in the north or in the west. Our own must be more stringent. So our people have learned their lessons, and that's why they stayed out of the protest. Right. So that is one thing. So right. Not that we are on the comfort zone. The hardship is staring us in the face, just like it is staring any other Nigerian in the face. But we are trying, we are managing. That is one thing.
All right, thank you so much, Paulson. Let's come back to you, Doc. We talked about some people, some politicians, like the past leaders, Atiku and Shoyinka, also saying that the address was hollow and he didn't address some of the issues that were raised earlier. I mean, some of the hardship that we are going through as a country. And then, in that address too, the president came out and said that before now, that we have been using 97% of our revenue to service our debt, but now, within 13 months, it has been reduced to 63%. Now, should we be happy when he said that? And if that is it, how come the ripple effect is not being felt by the citizens of this country?
What they just did was they renegotiated most of our debts and gave them more breathing room. It's not as if the debt all of a sudden
has been paid.
No, it's still there. And they are still borrowing more. Taken from World Bank, IMF, African Development Bank, just name it. We are going cap in hand begging.
Even pension fund.
Yes, pension fund. Very soon now. I think they are talked about opening a diaspora fund. So they're looking for ways to borrow money from Nigerians living abroad. It's the same thing. It's a simple way of putting it. So the debt problem is still there. It's still there, staring us in the face. What we have just done is to renegotiate it in such a way that if you give us there's this thing we call fiscal space. Fiscal space, so giving you some level of
like
gap.
To buy time?
Gap, yes. Okay. It's basically buying time. Gap between your revenue and your debt obligations. So why that has been the case so far, the question is like you raised, what have we been using the money to do? That is where I think communication matters. Instead of the president's media handlers, the likes of Ngelale and Ononuga, to be looking for people to be exchanging words with online, they should intensify effort in communicating whatever the government is doing clearly. And enlist the assistance of civil society organizations, the media, National Orientation Agency, and the rest. Let people know what is happening. Let us not always be in the dark. And everything almost shrouded in secrecy. Come out and let us know what is the money you have earmarked for this. Okay, you have saved this money for this. What have you done with the money? There are some fiscal expenses that we do in this country that I don't know how it is backed by law. If you read that speech, I picked up something. Maybe it may not be this thing. There was a provision where the president mentioned that they made 200 billion available for this consumer credit scheme.
Yes.
Then somewhere along the line, if you read further in that speech, it now said that they made available extra 50 billion for the student loan and extra 50 billion for the consumer credit. And these monies were gotten from the monies recovered from EFCC. I now ask, it's true. How do we handle loot that have been recovered? Who gives the order?
The account and
who gives account? Who do they account to? So that is like the president's pocket money. He just dips his hand there and says, okay, the EFCC, how much do you have? You bring it. There should be, I don't know, maybe it's the Attorney General. I think either the EFCC.
Attorney General.
These people need to come out and tell us these things. So we don't get a situation where a recovered loot ends up being
related.
So I was asking. So I don't know. So this question you're asking me now, I don't even know how to answer it, because when you say you have made some savings, or you have gotten some space from here, you should tell us, okay, these monies that ordinarily would have used to service debt, this is where it went to. If it went to student loan, you tell us it went to student loan. If it went to a housing scheme, you tell us it went to housing scheme. If it went to the CNG initiative or deposits you want to do, or the tractors they said they imported, all those things, you should tell us where those savings are going to. Because what I'm saying is that if you watch under the Shopee was more clear, because they tell you that, okay, they removed subsidy and later, kept some portion. Then the extra, sums that they made from the subsidy, then they told you how they were going to use the money. They got buses, they got this, they got that. It was clearly stated out. But this one, you don't have that kind of information.
Yeah, it's true. We have a lot of schemes now. We have the 3MTT and so many of them.
Many. There's a National Youth something. There's the one on ICT. Incubator.
Yes.
There are many things and you see, it's as if we just threw out this thing for throwing sake.
So what happens to other exactly?
You used to have your win. You used to have Shopee. You have the other one again. What happened to all those?
All those ones, yeah.
So I don't know.
So when you heard that, like on Saturday, when it was going around that the governor was, the president wanted to address the nation, what were your expectations? I mean, that's the broadcast. Because for me, I was waiting, I was so eager to see like the rolling out plans to address the current issues that we are facing as a country right now.
For me, the speech would have been unnecessary if the right things were done, just like my guest said as well. It would have been, because when these signs were there, you ended up politicizing the whole thing, that these are politicians that have lost elections. Somebody is telling you that he's hungry, he's jobless, he's unemployed, I mean, he has a medical this thing, he has bills to pay, and you are saying it is those who failed the election. That's a very callous statement to make. The next thing you now came out, we have identified the sponsors of the protest. Is that the kind of language you should be using? Instead of you addressing what is causing, what is about to cause the protest, as and then you say you have identified the sponsors. And people were like, oh, if you could identify them so quickly, why didn't you identify those who have been sponsoring mayhem, terrorism, banditry, and the rest who have been suffering in the country? And they all kept quiet. So when he found out that the heat was getting much, they now called, like he said, persuasion, coercion. Now called the traditional rulers. All of them go. How many traditional rulers interface with their people? Let's start from there. How many traditional rulers interface with their people? Then how many of them will listen to you after speaking in those convincing words or conciliatory words? What action did you take? Because Nigerians are already used to this, will I say, filibuster. You just come and speak without anything being done. So for me, I wasn't so expectant in the speech anyway. There was, and again, we've had too many speeches. This year alone, the president has addressed us. I think this will be the third time. Normally, the president just maybe on Independence Day and New Year Day. But this one, I don't understand. Okay, we had the Democracy Day the other day. So all these speeches be showing
without any actions to back it up. It's now beginning to look like
us results. So we know that your policies are actually evidence-based. That we have done this, we have done that. In this country, we have been talking about how to extend funds to vulnerable groups. Until today, nobody has come out to tell us what has been the outcome of the investigation and the cleanup they have done in the National Social Register. Because this government came in and said that the immediate past government, under the same party, that they don't trust the register they used in distributing funds
Palliatives.
to palliatives and the rest. And that was, I think, that was happening in the wake of the minister being suspended.
Former
humanitarian
minister.
So nobody has addressed that one. Now, in this same speech, you are saying there are some people that have been earmarked to be given 1 million.
Yeah.
Some persons will be given 1 billion.
1 billion.
Then some will be given nano scheme. So I'm asking, how did you get this information?
I actually received the message where they're saying that they are going to be giving me 65,000 every month.
You?
Yes.
Okay. Did you?
I didn't register. I was afraid. I didn't know whether it came from scammers.
That's a possibility. So these are the things. Let us interrogate these issues. Bring out the list. Let us know if you have any list. Let us see. You see the way they did the teachers' recruitment. At least when they say you have written the test and you passed, you see the names of them. Then when you say you have done the interview and you passed, you see another list. So can we be seeing something like that? Okay, let us know who is who. Look, why I'm asking for the list is very simple. Look at the way. Maybe it may be unrelated. Governing Council of Federal Universities, when the list came out, you see the way people queried it. Some states just got like 2 or 3 persons. Then the states belonging to the Minister of Education got almost like, I think, 50 or 60 names. So those are the things, because of this, our usual
ethnicity and nepotism and the rest of it.
So that is why many of us will be so reluctant in getting excited with most of these things. Let us see the list. Let us see the people you want to give this money.
Well,
okay. In addition to what he said, when they were talking about sponsorship of the protests and so on, it is something that is very curious. Curious in the sense that some young men out of hunger, some people, some Nigerians who were hungry are saying we want to protest. Frustration. They say we want to protest, and you are looking for somebody somewhere. Like once they talked about one politician, and so then they talk about another. Bayo Ononoga, out of his garrulity, was talking about Peter Obi as being the sponsor because he lost the election. Yet you saw Nigerians who were protesting because they were hungry, they were frustrated in their fatherland, and they could not eat. So why are you trying to shift blame? It is because we don't used to own up. That is one thing. We don't used to own up. I told them, when I heard that, I said, nobody is sponsoring this protest. The man who is sponsoring this protest is hunger.
Hunger.
Okay.
Hunger sponsored the protest.
Exactly.
It's a 2012 protest. Let us go back to 2012. No, 2012. Petroleum subsidy protest. Bola Tinubu, Muhammadu Buhari, Professor Wale Soyinka, Prophet, Pastor T.B. Bakari. They sponsored the protest because they were all there. Oshomel and all rest of them. Yeah. We saw them as disgruntled politicians who were against Jonathan and who wanted to pull Jonathan down. And they did it, nobody molested them.
That's the point.
Because we still believe that protest is a civic responsibility of the citizens.
Of the citizens, yeah.
We are in democracy. Because we are in democracy, it is enshrined in all the constitutions of this UN Charter, or AU Charter, Commonwealth Charter, even ECOWAS Charter. It's all there that the citizens have right to protest. It is God-given. But it's only in Nigeria that they will not want you to protest because they know that they are lording it over you. And you cannot say, oh no, I'm suffering. If you say it, you have committed an offense. All they want you to say, oh, all is well with me. That is our leaders for you. Even when they are holding you by the jugular, they want you to be smiling and saying, it is well with me. If you don't say that,
treason.
It's treason.
Okay.
So that's one unfortunate thing about the type of democracy we practice in this climate, in this nation.
Let's hold your thoughts there. I will get back to you. But right now we want to, go out and get what we got from our street parliamentarians. We actually interviewed them concerning this protest, and we want to hear what they have to say.
citizens are able to express themselves, express their grievance towards the government. Nothing is working in this country. You and I know that nothing is working as it is. Nothing is working in this country. Fuel is on a high price, foodstuffs are on a high price, everything is on a high price. So how much is the income that's supposed to, that you earn, that you're able to take care of yourself, you feed, you clothe yourself, you take transport, you own your car, and all of that. That is not very good. So I support the protest. If it's going to make the government change their mind, not to make the government do what they're supposed to do, to cushion the effect of this hardship. It's terrible. It's terrible for you to make a pot of soup in your house, like you're spending like 10,000, 15,000 naira, and all of that. How many people can afford it? How many people can afford to buy a bag of rice for 80,000 naira? How many people can afford to buy a bag of it for 215,000 naira and all of that? Oh, it's nothing to write home about.
The federal government has failed to do what they are supposed to do. When the president has refused to listen to Nigerians, this is democracy, and we say that democracy is the government of the people and for the people. When the people you are governing are yearning for something, crying as a father, and you decide to give a death ear, peaceful demonstration that went in mostly all the states in Nigeria, but in the southeast, we did not listen. We don't know why. Because the southeasterners, we are used to it. Because the government have been neglected. The easterners have been neglected all this while. So we resorted to our self-help, our business and everything. So this time, not that the southeasterners are not hungry, but they are used to it. They are used to it. That's why you can see that people are going about when they are the north. You know that northerners, majority of them are farmers. So most of the food we eat in Nigeria are being produced there. But today, because of insecurity, they can no more go to farm. Even if you have it, the high cost of fuel, the pump price of fuel that people buy is at the rate of 850 naira. After farming, you need to transport it. Definitely, the thing is affecting it. That's why everybody is hungry. Yesterday at Lagos, we saw what happened at the federal capital, when even the minister of federal capital chooses to attack Nigerians. His choice of words are zero. So I believe that the effect is destruction that you are seeing today. The effect is the anger you are seeing today. The effect is that they say that a hungry man is an angry man. And when you are angry, you will be pushed to do things you don't want to do.
I don't think the Southeast is involved, because on my own understanding, during the election, who believe that people won the election, but they deny it. They leave the election, they leave it out. So now that the hunger is out, I believe that everybody's feeling the impact. I cannot say the Southeast is not feeling the impact, because it's also involved. Rice is very expensive, and commodities. It's affecting everybody. But so far as they rig the election, nobody protested. But now that they are feeling that the economy is very harsh, so they feel like they want to protest, they continue. I don't believe that the Southeast is involved. Even in our nation, nobody is protesting. Who is bad? Is it after protesting? Is it after the manufacturer passed some facility? No. I think that government is doing well, good policies, and the economy is good. And those that manufacture everything, they will manufacture at lower price, and they will sell it at lower price. So we that are buying better, can you imagine? We are used to buy 4,000, 18,000 now. So after the protest, we letted the importers. Okay, now dollars, I have dollars up to 1.5. When you exchange naira to dollar and import goods, you sell it according to the way you purchase it. But as soon as they exchange dollar to 200 and import, this is not the time.
Looking at the system of Nigeria, I must tell you true, except one doesn't want to do the goods. The protest is a big one, more especially when it is peaceful and when it has a direct message to the government in particular. But sometimes you find out that in Nigeria, our politicians, our leaders are stubborn unnecessarily, and I don't think it's going to have any effect because the pressure is not coming up. I'm not seeing the pressure. Once the pressure starts coming up, we'll be able to see the possibility. But for now, I think I'm not seeing the pressure, more especially in areas where People are destroying government properties that are your own property. The property you are even lamenting that government is spending huge amount of money to fix. You are destroying the same property, and at the end of everything, you that will make use of it, you are not benefiting. And the leaders in seats will fix those things in their own personal houses, and they will enjoy it. But you that have it in the streets, you are destroying it. So the way I'm seeing the protest is not well organized.
Protests are not bad. The protestants, they have their key things.
We've heard our street parliamentarians talking about the issue of the protest, and everybody seems to be aligning with the support for the protest because, well, like they said, the government's knee on our neck is actually almost breaking it and we can't breathe. So most Nigerians are out there supporting the protest. Let me come to you, Paulson. You've heard what Nigerians all over say that they are supporting the protest because, sincerely speaking, like the lady that spoke first, she was saying more like transportation costs takes home your salary. You don't even have any, nobody can even save in this present administration. Are you seeing positive signs come the 10th day of this, the deadline of this protest? Something tangible coming from the side of the government in order for this protest to come to an end?
Honestly, I don't see any tangible thing coming because from the speech made by the president yesterday, you can see that the man is not prepared to address the problems. Rather, what he came out saying was things he intends to do. CNG buses, roll out this plan, roll out the other plan, roll out this and that. But what we were talking about, concrete plans.
But those concrete plans would need time to take
the issue
effect.
Of subsidy, like he said, when he was talking, he said nobody is talking about we withdraw the subsidy because it is in interest of Nigerians. We agree. But the president should have talked about immediate things he should have done, like floating mass transit buses, buying buses and giving out to transporters. Many governments did that to cushion the the transportation. Many governments have done that in this country. Federal assisted mass transit buses. It was everywhere. At least in that area, you have handled aspects. Like one area you talked about, removing the importation duties on importation of
agricultural.
Rice. That one is good on the other agricultural products. That one is good. But where is it? You see, when he said he brought 20 trailer loads of rice to be shared to states, where are they? We are in Anambra, we have not seen our own. For other areas may have seen their own.
On social media, we saw in a state where people
were rebagging it.
Rebagging it. And then there was a place where they packed it and the citizens discovered the place and they went there, they were looting it themselves.
That is what we are still saying. If they release 20 trucks of a truckload of rice to each state, it is on the news only. It has not trickled down.
But even the 20 trucks, a truck can take as much as 1,500 or 1,000.
But where is it?
Will that be enough for the citizens?
I'm talking, even these 20 trucks, let people see it first. If you talk about 1,000 bags per truck, 20 trucks should be about 4,000. Some people will get, some others will have hope that there could be something done again. But these are people, the demonstrators are just demonstrating because there is no end to their hunger. Like people who were talking, have you gone to the market with 20,000 naira? What were you able to buy? Because I went in with 25,000 naira on Saturday. When I bought something, when the woman checked what I bought, provision, I said, Madam, no, this cannot be. Now, Madam, check again. The woman came back and I almost wept. Because with 25,000 naira, I could not buy common tea and bread my children will use because they are on holidays.
25,000, where will they see this money? 20,000 are big money.
Honestly speaking, I could not buy provisions, only tea and bread and the other things.
It's sad.
It is sad. Do you know what? I didn't buy bread though. Because the money has no value. So when people are talking, they support the president. The president should do something. He should make some pronouncements that could at least touch the minds of the protesters to say, let us go home and watch him, at least in the next 7 days. That is what people have expected, and that is why people were saying this broadcast is hollow. Because the man should have said, in the next 7 days, we should this should have happened. And give us another 14 days. It should be just rolling out time and so on.
Towards the end, he said he's open to negotiation and that.
This dialogue is, like I said earlier, he's trying to do first and last. This dialogue should have come earlier. But it's just like he has been forced. You know, that demonstration started on 1st.
Yes.
4 days after, he did a broadcast, which means he was just talked into doing it. For him, he wouldn't have made a broadcast. But people may have persuaded him, talk to the youths, talk to them, you are the president, you are their father, talk to them. And he now kind of, okay, let me go and talk to them. And he now came, instead of addressing the problems, he began to talk in rhetorics, telling us about his campaign.
His manifesto.
His manifesto. Again, after you have said it, because since he came in, it has always been CNG gas, CNG buses. Things, and we have not seen one. But he keeps talking about CNG buses, not one on the road. And CNG kits, as if to say that those kits, are they made in Nigeria? Let's be more serious in tackling our problem.
This morning that in Lagos State that they've halted the protest, what we saw in the papers this morning, and that the Lagos State governor said he's open for engagement between him and the youth.
Now, because they have seen that the youths are serious. Well, if they're open for protest, I will not deny them that. Sorry, if they're open for dialogue, I will not deny them that. Let them call the organizers of the protest. Let them discuss. Let them talk in concrete terms. And not just like the president just spoke yesterday, because much as Nigerians are concerned, he didn't make much point talking to them. Because what is worth doing is worth doing well. The president should have prepared themselves, then know what he should tell Nigerians to assuage their feelings, other than coming to talk blah, 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 blah. At the end of the day, nothing was taken home from his broadcast.
All right, let's come back to you now. So we're talking about the Southeasterners. Of course, it was obvious that we didn't participate in the protest. And people like Omahi, Ozodima, they are hailing Igbos for not participating in the protest. And now, from your own point of view, I know Ajula have touched it earlier, but from your own point of view, do you think that it is proper for us, because we are part of
Nigeria,
this country,
of course.
Yeah, of course. One
the hunger is everywhere.
Major ethnic groups, and the hunger is hitting everybody, irrespective of your tribe or a religious affiliation. So, do you think it's proper for Southeasterners to step back and not being part of this protest?
I beg to differ. Protests can come in various forms. It's just that I want to say that ours is a unique situation, in the sense that there is already this dissatisfaction with whatever is going on in the country. That I think, not just at the national level, even at the state levels in the Southeast, that the average Easterner has just made up his mind that there is no government. So we have substituted the role of the government, to what we do for ourselves. The government will not give you water, you give yourself water. The government will not give you light, you give yourself light. The government will not give you a job, you give yourself jobs. The government will not give you this, you provide it for yourself. Because of that, our, Republican nature, we are daring. We don't necessarily, I want to borrow from what he said, we are resilient. But that said, you have seen the way protests that have emanated from this part of the country have been handled in the past. and we have come to the. I want to say that majority of the people in the Southeast have come to the conclusion that look, there's no need. And these people, they don't rate us. Let me use the language of my students. They'll tell you they don't rate us. So they don't know we exist. So why not allow them to be and let us be? After all, in the Southeast, whether we like it or not, economic activities have, will I say, spiritually died on Mondays. Yeah, even if the state as well maybe in some places have eased, but you still notice that Mondays,
like the major markets, they don't even open on Mondays.
Mondays are no longer Mondays. I think when you begin to feel the vibes of the economic hustle and bustle is from Tuesday. So what people that have given up like that, how do you expect them to be interested in these things? And they will tell you our fathers saw it with the Civil War. Our fathers saw it with the Civil War, and now we are seeing it in another form. So what is new? So is it not better everybody to your tent to Israel? So everybody is just being. It's not as if the average Igbo man is not feeling the bite of what is going on in the economy. I would even want to say we feel it the more, because even when the petroleum industry had not been rebranded the way it is, there has never been a time, for instance, we buy petroleum products
at pump price,
the same price they say all over the place, and we just move on. This place has been over-militarized for a very long time. The number of checkpoints you have here, you'll be wondering what is going on. But we just continue like that. So we have taken it as a normal thing. But that notwithstanding, it only points to the. No, it's not like you mentioned Umai and Co. That they were happy that the Igbos listening to them. It is not. They should not leave.
They should not take the glory.
They should not deceive themselves thinking it's because they listen to them. It's just that as a people, they're just tired. That is it. It's just like we are in a forced marriage. So people are just like, okay. So it will not be that I'm always the troublemaker. Anything you people want, let us do it.
And another thing to it is this. Let us
just quickly, because
let us see political angle. You see, why we didn't protest here? Sorry. If we go on protesting, they will say, P2B brothers. They want to pull down this government because their brother lost the election. That's another political angle to it. So it is good that we stayed off, because they will give it their own interpretation. That we are protesting for P2B, who didn't win election in 2023. That we are protesting against Tinubu. And they will say, yes, because of that, they will come here killing everybody. So it is good that wisdom prevailed here. That's what I want to say.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Paul Sin, Okeke, for joining us. I'm a journalist and public affairs analyst, and Dr. Chukwudonso Ekesiobi, lecturer at the Department of Economics, Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Chugu University, Ibariam. Thank you so much this morning for joining us, talking about the conflict mitigation through protest series. Well, on us this morning, Chidema and I saying, well, tomorrow we'll definitely get to do it again. I'm Ajilu Chukwu Okabwe. Bye for now.